Dodger fans, stop everything you're doing. What I'm about to tell you is the kind of breaking news that changes entire seasons, maybe even changes dynasties. The Dodgers are actively working on bringing in a player who fits exactly the profile this team has been desperately searching for. We're talking about a guy who is versatile, who gets on base at an elite level, who has incredible plate discipline, who plays above average defense, who doesn't commit those boneheaded mistakes that kill rallies and give away outs. And here's the kicker. He plays second base, one of the Dodgers' most urgent roster needs going into the three-peat push. Yes, this is real. Negotiations are happening. And if the Dodgers pull this off, it will reshape the lineup and solve one of the biggest depth problems this roster faced in 2025. Before we go any further, smash that like button and please make sure you're subscribed. We're on a mission to hit 12,000 subscribers, and with everything happening this offseason, trust me, you don't want to miss a single update. Alright, let's talk about who the Dodgers are after and why this move makes so much baseball sense.
By the way, Baseball America's senior editor Josh Norris is going to be joining us today, but first, speaking of the rumor mill, Clint Pasillas, let's get to the big ticket.
Let's do it.
We bring up some non-Dodger news, Clint, because it is somewhat related to the Dodgers, right? We were talking on Monday about the potential closer market and whether or not Devin Williams or somebody else would make sense to kind of shore up the back end of the Dodgers bullpen. Well, I can tell you, sir, it's not going to be Raisel Iglesias because he has gone back to the Atlanta Braves. He could have very well have been traded at the deadline by the Braves, but he wasn't. And now they've assigned him to a new deal. So what does that mean for the Dodgers? What does that have to do with us?
Yeah, so where this is intriguing here is that we did learn here, Francis Romero, who covers the baseball and the rumors on the social media machine, pointed out the Dodgers actually reportedly had an offer out there. Iglesias does ultimately re-signed with Atlanta for I think it was $16.5 million or something like that. But to me, this tells us the Dodgers are serious in their intentions. They are looking to add some back end of the bullpen, high leverage relief arm, whatever it may be. We know they are interested in Devin Williams. We know they apparently are interested in this guy Iglesias to maybe be some sort of Kirby Yates, what Kirby Yates couldn't be for the Dodgers in 2025. We do know the Dodgers right now, they have a pretty good bullpen. By the time you get to August, by the time you get to September, they need some help early in the season. They need help across the course of the season. Somebody who can plug in at any point in the game and potentially, pick up some saves for them. And that's something, of course, is more important for you. You want somebody who can at least lock it down in the ninth inning, which we know Iglesias has done over the course of his career, but I like knowing that they're operating at the top of the market again.
I just don't want a revolving door anymore in terms of the back end of the bullpen. And I do think that Dave Roberts doesn't get enough credit for how he managed the bullpen this season. Obviously, in the offseason last year, Clint, coming into this year, Andrew Friedman, Dave Roberts, front office, ownership did such a tremendous job building up the bullpen, right? Kirby Yates, Tanner Scott, all of these different guys were like, man, we're so stacked as far as bullpen arms are concerned. Well, it didn't work out that well. It didn't work out that way. Obviously, in the postseason, we lost Alex Vesia. We now know why. That's far bigger than baseball. That's exactly where he needed to be. But it was so nerve-wracking, the whole, revolving door, the carousel of who's going to come in. Obviously, Roki Sasaki stepped up massive in that role as a closer, if you will. But the plan is for him to be a starter, right? So you don't have Roki in the bullpen. Evan Phillips, what are we going to do with him? That's a conversation we're going to have later on in the show. Blake Trinan, he's not necessarily quite the same Blake Trinan he was when he was massively productive in 2024. So whether it is now not right, Raisel Iglesias, and really that's the only report I had heard about that in terms of perhaps he does go, the Dodgers did have an offer out for him. But whether it's a Devin Williams or what if it's an Edwin Diaz? I mean, I don't know if the Dodgers are going to want to spend that type of money, but he's probably the best closer relief arm that's available right now on the market. But that is to be said that if this is in fact true and there was an offer on the table for Iglesias, you're right. The Dodgers are looking for maybe not a closer, but for a high leverage arm.
Yeah, and we know, again, we've talked already about Devin Williams. I think they will be pretty significantly interested in that market. That we've heard other names as well, somebody like a Pete Fairbanks. You and I were talking a little bit about him in our pre-production call. Pete Fairbanks is one of those dudes who's long been linked to the Dodgers. Somebody who has, he has plus stuff. It seems like he would be better off pitching on the West Coast. He says he struggles with kind of the cold in the early part of the season there in the AL East. You're not as certain about Fairbanks, though.
Well, I don't know. I mean, and you and I, again, when we're in pre-production meetings, like, you're the one putting all the rundown together. I was out there kind of walking my dog, and I was like thinking, well, I don't know, Pete Fairbanks, and I understand the tie-in because of the whole Andrew Friedman tie to the Tampa Bay Rays. And I was like, I'm not really sure if that makes the most sense. But then you brought it up, and I'm looking at it here right now on Baseball Reference. ERA last year, actually really good. I mean, it's south of 3. It's a 2.83, 61 games. 48 games that he finished, 27 saves, okay, in those 47 games. So those are decent numbers, right? He's been with Tampa Bay for the majority of his career. He was with Texas for like a cup of coffee. You say that he says that he doesn't really like pitching in the cold early on in the season. That's fine, but he's going to have, the Dodgers travel. You know what I mean? So even if the majority of his save opportunities or whatever are at home, he's going to have to pitch on the road. So you can't let the weather, affect you that much, in my opinion, when you're a reliever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that he's a closer guy, but I wouldn't be mad if Pete Fairbanks was in the Dodgers bullpen as a high leverage reliever, especially if you obviously have Alex Vesia back, which we do. What's going to happen with Evan Phillips? What's going to happen with Anthony Banda?
Tanner Scott as well as a big name.
But Tanner Scott's under contract. The other two, they could easily be non-tendered. So, I guess you could trade Tanner Scott, but no one's going to pick up the contract, or you can just eat it.
Yeah, in terms of all of those names, what I do like about them is that, and assumedly somebody like Pete Fairbanks as well, they're all people that are open to and willing to pitch in just about any role. The save numbers aren't important to them. I think that is a factor too, and why Iglesias probably would be less inclined to sign with the Dodgers is he does have a decent amount of career saves under his belt. Maybe that means something to him, trying to get to like 300 saves in his career. I think he's not very far off. A name that we've kind of talked about a little bit here. This is the first offseason where I feel like a Kenley Jansen reunion would make sense, but he's also super close to 500 saves in his career, and I don't know that he would be the anointed de facto lion's share closer if he were to re-sign with the Dodgers. As for somebody like Pete Fairbanks, dude has 90 career saves right now. Clearly, closing is not the most important thing to him. I think he wants to be the next Tampa Ray, like Snell and Glasnow before him. To come, you couldn't beat him before. Come to LA and let's get that ring, baby.
That's quite the path to follow, right? You saw what it did for Blake Snell. You saw what it did for Tyler Glasnow. Dodgers, being a Dodger or LA, we have talked about for the last couple of years, it's a destination now, right? Mm-hmm. Like, folks want to play in Los Angeles for a variety of reasons. It's interesting, though. We've talked about this at length. We did it on foul territory. We did it on fair territory today with Ken Rosenthal. The closer market is rich, right? There's a lot of really good arms out there in the closer market. It's kind of like the shortstop market was a couple of years ago when there were a lot of really big names all in free agency. So it'll be interesting to see who, if anybody, the Dodgers land in that. You're talking about Kenley Jansen and a possible reunion. What about Cody Bellinger and a possible reunion? We talked about this a little bit on Monday, but there is.
But when you have an elite player, in this case, Schwarber, that could be the exception to the rule, which is why I think Boston or plenty of these other teams should take that risk, which I don't know if it's necessarily, there's always risk with contracts, but with Schwarber, that's like a really good gamble to take.
And that's what I was kind of getting to my next question. There's always teams lurking, and especially two teams I think of. Well, one, you got always number one guy is always the Dodgers and what they did last year. What do you see from them? And then you got the Mets, and Stevie Cohen over there is not afraid to pull off anything, not only with Schwarber, but do you see any of those two teams going after some high price guys to get them back to where they need to be? Well, the Mets back to where they need to be, not the Dodgers.
No, for sure. And I feel like both of those teams should never be ruled out. Like Steve Cohen, he spends, unlike almost any owner in baseball, and the Dodgers, their ability to stockpile talent and be competitive year in and year out is admirable. And with the Dodgers, I'm not ruling it out, but for them, their priorities are clear. They want to add to the bullpen, and whether that's a Devin Williams type, which I believe Fabian Ardaya of The Athletic reported that first, that he's interested, or that they're interested in Devin Williams. Even a guy like Pete Fairbanks would make a lot of sense for the Dodgers too. And you would think maybe they end up looking for an outfielder of some sort, whether that could be just speculating. But I think a Harrison Bader type would be a great fit for the Dodgers and really add to that outfield defense. But they're also evaluating their internal options there as well. But you can never rule out a splash with them. The Mets, they need to figure out the pitching side, and they also need to figure out defensively as well, how they can upgrade that defense. And those are two things that David Stearns is really known for. He thrived with that in Milwaukee. I expect him to do so. I just don't know the caliber of player that they're going to be able to go out and sign. But that being said, with Steve Cohen, you can't really rule anything out there.
All right, I want to dance around it a little bit. The Dodgers are good at DH, so Schwarber ain't it for them. The guy, Shohei, I think it's Otani?
Yeah,
I'm not sure
I
how
think
this
it's maybe. Yeah.
He's probably good. Unless they can make another rule for the Dodgers where they could have two DHs in the lineup, which Major League Baseball already makes rules for the Shohei Dodgers, so that's totally fine.
The player the Dodgers are in the middle of trying to acquire is Brendan Donovan of the St. Louis Cardinals, an all-star in 2025 and one of the most versatile, high IQ, low-mistake players in all of Major League Baseball. John Morosi himself went on MLB Network's Hot Stove and confirmed it. The Dodgers are one of the teams with active, widespread interest in trading for Brendan Donovan. This isn't smoke, this is real. The Cardinals are listening and the Dodgers want him. Why this player is everything the Dodgers want. Look at the profile. Elite OBP skills. Donovan hit .287 with a .353 OBP last season, and that was across a full year, not a hot streak. He makes pitchers work. He refuses to chase garbage outside the zone. He fits the Dodgers' hitting philosophy like a glove. Disciplined, mature hitter, 32 doubles, 10 home runs, 50 RBI. And what matters most, he doesn't give away ABs. Defensive versatility. This is huge. In 2025, he played 100 games at second base, 18 in left field, 6 at shortstop, and in his career he has 163 games in left, 30 in right field. Donovan isn't just versatile, he's above average defensively, and he plays clean, smart baseball. No rushed throws, no mental errors, no meltdown moments. Exactly the kind of player the Dodgers front office builds around. Perfect roster need. Let's be real, second base has been a problem for 2 years. Injuries, inconsistency, lack of stability. It's been a patchwork rotation. Donovan would instantly become the everyday second baseman, a real solution, a real fit, a real upgrade for the three-peat attempt. This is important. The Cardinals are entering a complete front office overhaul under Chaim Bloom, and according to multiple insiders, Bloom is listening on every veteran making arbitration money. Donovan fits directly into that group. He just made his first All-Star game. He's about to become more expensive, and the Cardinals, stuck between mediocrity and a rebuild, USO are open to restructuring their roster. That's why teams like the Dodgers, Mets, Yankees, Phillies, and Astros are all in the mix. But the Dodgers have something nobody else does. A deep farm system, plus a history of successful deals with St. Louis. Remember the 2023 three-team trade that landed Tommy Edman and Michael Kopech in LA? The relationship is already there. Why Donovan makes LA better is immediately, if the Dodgers land Brendan Donovan, you instantly upgrade. 1. Lineup quality. A high OBP, low strikeout hitter before the big bats. Lethal. Put Donovan in front of Betts, Otani, Freeman. Nightmare for opposing pitchers. 2. Defensive reliability. No more musical chairs at second base. No more uncertainty. You get stability and flexibility. 3. Baseball IQ Donovan is one of the cleanest, smartest players in MLB. When you're trying to win 3 straight World Series, those details matter. 4. Contract control. He's under team control through 2027. You're not just renting him, you're building around him. Dodger fans, I love this move. This is the exact kind of player championship teams need. Disciplined, reliable, smart, versatile. A guy who fits perfectly inside a lineup already built around superstars. Championships aren't just won with stars, they're won with glue guys. And Donovan is a glue guy with all-star talent. If LA is serious, and they are, this could be the move that defines the offseason. I need to hear from you in the comments. Would you trade prospects to get Donovan? Do you think he fits at second base full time? Would he be your leadoff hitter or your number 2 guy behind Betts? Tell me what you want. I read every reply. If the Dodgers land Donovan, it will be one of the smartest, most strategic moves of the entire offseason, and exactly the type of addition that fuels a three-peat. So before you go, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and help us hit 12,000 subscribers. This community is growing like crazy, and it's because of you. I'm Victor. This is latest Los Angeles Dodgers news, and we'll be right here breaking every update as the Dodgers build the next great dynasty. Go Dodgers!